Hey, how you guys doing? What's going on? Chris Cuomo is going off. Everybody want to know is why is Chris Cuomo going off on Mike Johnson, MAGA Mike Johnson? You know, we are having enough of these MAGAs. We are fighting back. I'm so happy that Chris is standing up for what's right and he is speaking truth to power. It's about time that the Democrats start to put some strength in their voices and start to speak up, you know? So I want us to watch this video. I saw this video. I guess today I'm going to do a reaction day. So let me know if you guys enjoying these videos by comment. Let me know. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Let's react and let's see what is Chris Cuomo. What is he going off on today? Let's see.
His family trading in companies right in front of your face that the government helps with. You hypocrite. You absolute hypocrite. You do not rule by the good book. You do not. You're full of it. You're full of it, and you're full of fealty.
TV's Chris Cuomo went after MAGA Mike Johnson, perhaps the biggest of all the sycophantic Weasley MAGA goons in Congress, over statements that Mike Johnson made that members of Congress should be able to trade stocks. We're going to take a look at clips of Chris Cuomo going after Mike Johnson. I have plenty of thoughts that I want to share about this as well. Let's get into it together.
Mike Johnson, when you say that you lead with the Bible, breaking news. The Bible doesn't say, thou shalt let the rich millionaires trade stocks out of sympathy. You're supposed to have sympathy and to love mercy when it comes to the poor, when it comes to people who don't live by the righteous way that you say you do, Mike Johnson, you hypocrite extraordinaire. You got to let members of Congress trade stocks because they don't make enough money. Over half of the motherfuckers are millionaires. They make 175 grand a year. They get housing allowances and all this other shit, amazing health care, pensions. And you need to let them trade stocks. When they trade stocks that come from companies in front of their committees, God damn, except unless it's Nancy Pelosi, then it's too much. Then it's wrong. Donald Trump, thousands of trades, more than all other presidents combined. His family trading in companies right in front of your face that the government helps with. You hypocrite. You absolute hypocrite. You do not rule by the good book. You do not. You're full of it. You're full of it, and you're full of fealty. And how about this one? As soon as we get the Strait of Hormuz opened back up, we'll get back to kitchen table issues. Again, you lying mofo. You went on vacation so that you didn't have to vote on the War Powers resolution, but you care about the Strait of Hormuz? You won't even debate and vote. You coward. You craven little man. Any of you that support the bullshit that's coming out of his mouth, you're not a real one. You're an Americant, not an American.
Now, before I comment on what Chris Cuomo said here, I want to play the actual clip of what Mike Johnson has said in case you haven't seen that. It's gone really viral, but to me, this is something that this should be such a huge scandal. It should just be on 24-hour news on a continuous loop, but I've only seen it online.
Well, look, you know, the salary of Congress has been frozen since 2009. You know, when you adjust for inflation, a member of Congress today is making 31% less than they made in that year. It goes down every year. And over time, if you stay on this trajectory, you're going to have less qualified people who are willing to make the extreme sacrifice to run for Congress. I mean, it's just people just make a reasonable decision as a family on whether or not they can come and move to Washington, have a residence here, residence at home, and do all the things that are required. So the counter argument is, and I have some sympathy, look, at least let them like engage in some stock trading so that they can continue to, take care of their family.
All right. So think about this. Think about the hubris of Mike Johnson to come out and say this as gas prices are going up, cost of everything is going up. Republicans and Democrats are constantly talking about inflation and the way that affects average Americans. And this scumbag, Mike Johnson, has the nerve to start whining about, well, you're not going to attract, good people if they aren't allowed to trade stocks. To do insider trading is what's happening in Congress, right? We saw this during the pandemic. We've seen this at other times. These are people who are supposed to be regulating companies, but instead they're doing insider trading so that they can make a bunch more money. As Chris Cuomo said, most of them are millionaires. So this is something that has gained popularity in the country, and I'm sure this is what Mike Johnson is trying to push back on. The idea that none of these scumbags should be able to trade individual stocks. They should let them invest in funds, but they shouldn't be trading individual stocks when they get inside information, and they're supposed to be regulating these companies. Obviously, the game is they go easy on these companies while they're in Congress, and then they get to be on a board of these of these companies, or they become lobbyists and they go back and lobby their old friends on behalf of these various corporations. This is something that every American voter should be demanding, that they should not be able to trade individual stocks. As Chris Cuomo said, they bring up Nancy Pelosi, and go after Nancy Pelosi, go after all of them. But as Chris Cuomo has pointed out there, you have Donald Trump and his idiot family and his friends and his donors and all these other people making money hand over fist with inside trading. And not just that, Chris Cuomo didn't bring it up, but market manipulation. All this stuff that we're seeing with the Strait of Hormuz, how much of that is strictly to get the gas price to go up and down and up and down so they can make a bunch of money? But some people have talked about, on Mike Johnson's part, his being tone deaf. I don't think they're tone deaf. As I said before, I think it's hubris. I think Mike Johnson, Donald Trump, all the rest, they're rubbing our noses in it. When Bret Baier asked Donald Trump to clarify his statement about not caring about the finances of the American people, Trump doubled down on it. He doesn't care. He's making billions of dollars. Mike Johnson and these other people are making millions of dollars. They feel like they are untouchable. They don't care about the individual person. They don't care about you and me, whether we starve or not. They don't think anything about that, except in terms of, well, this might affect me in terms of getting reelected. But otherwise, they don't care what happens to any of us. We can starve for all they care. And I don't know how bad things have to get exactly, but you would have to think we are going to see real changes in this country, with people not accepting the status quo, of creeps like Mike Johnson, of con men like Donald Trump running our country. At some point, I think people, and there's a lot of blame to be placed on the Democrats. I'm hoping that the Democrats will win in the midterm, so maybe they can kind of clamp things down on the Trump administration, but they're going to have to do something while they're in there. Chris Cuomo brought up Nancy Pelosi. We can't have Democrats trading stocks as well. But like I said, this should be on a continuous loop on all of the 24-hour news channels, and this should be a national debate that we're having. Look how out of touch a guy like Mike Johnson is, making $175,000 a year, and then saying, well, that's not enough. We need to be able to do insider trading as well so we can make more and more money. How many people out there, let me know in the comments if you would be happy to be able to make $175,000 a year. And what I've seen, they work maybe 140 days out of the year. I mean, they're on vacation constantly. And Chris Cuomo brought up, well, after we get the Strait of Hormuz straightened out, Mike Johnson says, then we can go back to kitchen table issues. You can't do more than one thing at a time. And the Strait of Hormuz that your guy, Donald Trump, your God King, Mike Johnson, caused this whole mess. The strait wouldn't be closed if your buffoon president weren't in office. This guy that you go out there every day with your knee pads to constantly suck up to him to say, oh, no, that wasn't really what he meant, or I didn't hear that. When Trump says another outrageous thing that just shows the American people how he cares nothing about them and how you, Mike Johnson, care nothing about them. Chris Cuomo, I know a lot of people don't like him, and I have criticism of Chris Cuomo when he does the both sides thing that he loves to do. But I do like to see somebody that's in quote unquote mainstream media. I mean, I don't know how mainstream News Nation that he's on is because they're pretty small. But to me, credit is where credit is due. He called out Mike Johnson as to what a scumbag he is. I hope maybe he'd get Mike Johnson on a show and say that to his face, because this is absolutely outrageous to have the speaker saying, well, 175,000 isn't enough. And, you're not going to get qualified people if you don't allow them to trade stocks. No. This should be an ongoing conversation that's happening in the country where everybody, left or right or center, is saying we need to take away the ability for these people in Congress to manipulate the market, to buy stocks with inside information, and to not regulate large corporations and industries that they should be regulating because they know they're going to get a big payout once they leave office. Let me know in the comments what you think about what Chris Cuomo had to say about Mike Johnson, what I had to say about Mike Johnson. Do you think that Mike Johnson and the rest of Congress should be able to buy individual stocks? Or are you on my side that they should be banned from doing that? And Nancy Pelosi and everybody in Congress. I don't care what letter is next to their name. I'm Chris on Culture. I will see you in the next video.